show, celebrities, pop culture, and comedy.
All right, they're in the building. First of all, I love you guys. I have a long relationship with you guys from back in the day. I used to interview. You're in the house right now. All-4-One. What's up, man?
What's up, yo?
All right. For the people that are listening, why don't you introduce yourselves so they know when they hear your voice?
All right, I'm Delius.
I'm Tony.
I'm Alfred.
And I'm Jamie.
All right, and that's All-4-One. So what are y'all doing right now? I know y'all still doing because last time we talked, y'all had a Vegas thing going on. Are y'all still doing that? Where are we on that?
No,
no
the
more
Vegas is
Vegas
not
at the
going
moment.
anymore.
Okay.
Kind of went south.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the winter.
For the
hopefully.
winter, yeah.
So how'd you like being? Because so many stars are going to Vegas now. It's like
Yeah.
the thing, a residency. Did you enjoy that more than traveling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was nice to just be in like one place. Like you literally would just be chilling throughout the day, and then 5 o'clock comes. You're like, well, all right, let me go downstairs. Because we were staying in the hotel for the whole time. So it's like, all right, let me go to work. I felt like I was going to work. Like let me get my backpack and let me get my shoes and let me go downstairs. And then everything was in the dressing room. So it was really cool to just be in one place and not having to worry about getting up to take a red eye. And then not sleeping, and then get into that place, and then having to do the show, and then
Because that's the difficult part of our lives right now. Whereas when we were younger, flying around the world and getting up at hours, no problem. We're like, let's do it. Now it's like, the traveling and the 3 o'clock lobby calls. And it's like,
and he's talking about 3 a.m. lobby calls.
To make that 6 a.m. flight.
Yeah, to get somewhere with enough time just to have a lunch and then get ready for sound check and go. It's like,
What's the biggest difference, since you guys are older than when you first started, but what's the biggest difference now and then?
Weight. I'm a little heavier. Listen. I tell them all the time, we take these long flights, I get off, and my butt, I can't feel it. It hurts. I'm like, yo, what's up with this?
Why you smiling like that?
I'm not saying nothing. I'm just
you ain't complaining either about your butt
Well, that's
hurting.
American Airlines. Well, I
It's
called it
every
out.
airline.
It's American.
It's all of them.
You know,
American is
not
the worst.
beside the weight. Everything hurts.
Yes.
We'll do a 15-minute show. We'll get done, and things that I didn't know that I have hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't even know what that is. Why is that hurt? I didn't do anything.
It's called age, man. We're getting now we're those dudes.
Yeah.
Like we're those dudes.
Those
We're turning
dudes,
into
yeah.
our dads, but just slightly cooler than they were at the same age.
Right.
Or at least we think we are.
Yes. That's what I'm about to say.
No,
we think we are.
Listen,
They're
I'm
cool
sorry.
too.
Right.
My dad, when he was 20, looked like he was 45, because he's walking around.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny how when we look at our parents when they were our age now,
Right.
they look so old.
Yeah.
When we look.
Yeah.
But we just know more now. Maybe we know
Well,
food.
that too, but
They thought
also
cigarettes was healthy. I mean,
Exactly. Exactly.
But listen, it's like when I go to my son's school and I go to pick him up and I'm in my Jordans and I'm in my, in my
cool.
sweatpants. Like my dad would never do that. Like my dad, if he was picking me up from school at the same age, he showed up in Stacey Adams and slacks with no socks.
But that was cool
and
back
ashy
then.
ankles.
Well, maybe not the ankles.
I'm
maybe
just
not the
saying.
ankles. But that was cool back then
No,
for
it-
them.
it
The
was cool.
70s was different.
They had the
I didn't grow up in the 70s, bro.
Okay.
I was born in the 70s.
You didn't go, oh, you grew up?
Yeah, he
I didn't grow up in the
70s.
70s, no.
Yeah, he did.
Now,
I was born
who's the youngest person in this group?
Wait.
Oh,
I was going to say, I wanted you to guess the age. People always have a hard time guessing who's the oldest and youngest.
Well,
But
who would you have thought the youngest was?
the youngest? I would have said you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I
the
know.
oldest?
And on that note,
This interview is over.
it's over.
That's all right.
The only reason I said it because they were pointing behind you and they said,
I hate you, man. Oh, that's wrong.
So
No, it was right, actually.
So, so what do you guys think about the? I don't want to call it love song, but like the R&B today.
I feel like it doesn't really exist. Not the R&B of the type of thing where guys were like, "I love you," and get into that soul and all that stuff. I don't feel
Well,
like it.
why can't I miss it?
You know
Everybody's-
why? But you know why?
Everybody wants to be
Because
cool.
Everybody's too cool now,
Yeah.
right? A guy can't say to a girl, "Yo, I love you," because he's too busy in the VIP making it rain on all the strippers at the strip club and and drinking and this and that. Whereas, like, one of the things I miss and I love about music from the 90s that we're part of is, guys weren't too cool. Like you could say, what was Keith Sweat known for? Begging.
Yes.
Right?
Casey and JoJo.
Yeah,
Begging. It was
Right.
all about begging.
Yeah.
And there was nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But now,
I
everybody's so cool.
want to slap on the butt, make
Yeah.
it jiggle in the club.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
No kind of love to that,
there's
man.
no more room for romance unless you're a country singer. And
Yeah.
Do you think that'll ever come back, though?
I hope it does, man.
Yeah.
I pray.
Yeah, it's a circle. It's a
I pray. I see people. I see. He's got it over there.
They're putting that. Hold on. Let's wait
yeah,
a
yeah.
second.
Okay,
They're gonna
okay,
get
okay.
back to Mike. There we go.
All right. Saying it's a cycle. Music is a cycle. Life is a cycle. It all comes back around. So it's going to come back around.
I
Right.
miss it, man.
Yeah,
I miss
it's
it
coming,
because,
man.
Well, because
It's coming.
I was telling a friend, even on the female side of R&B, which is non-existent pretty much too. Like now, the big artists, they're celebrating when they get out of a breakup. Like, I don't want to call names, but like the Taylor Swifts and these people. It's like,
Right.
let's celebrate. Like, F them. Let's go dance and
Right.
party.
Yeah.
Where you're really sad.
Right.
Like, no,
Right.
like that's just a
Right.
fake facade.
I would say that's a mask. We know that when Taylor Swift closed the door and said goodbye to the last person, she's like, "Oh God, I need you back." But
I don't know. I think Taylor's like, all right, let me make another 50 million record with some lyrics on that one.
Right.
Just like Adele. Adele got divorced and her record's coming out soon. I'm like, oh, she about to have a dope ass record.
How bad is that? We're wishing for Adele to have bad relationships because we know
that's
the music's going to be good.
Yeah, that's me. That's horrible.
I don't know if that's what I said.
No,
That's
that's what I
basically
feel.
what you
No, I don't. Adele, I'm claiming this. I wish you bad relationships because that's the best music. That's the best music.
Listen, Adele, I wish you good with some bad experiences sprinkled in.
Yeah, sprinkled in. Okay, but you need the bad experience.
Yeah.
To make.
Yeah.
Because that record's going to be dope.
Oh, it's going to be.
You know
great.
it's going to be dope.
How are y'all happy that you? Are you happy that you didn't, or you wish you did come up in the social media age when y'all were at your peak?
I'm glad we didn't.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Why?
Here's why. Because, I think that people, because of the social media age, forget that entertainers are just humans like them. And when you're going through a bad time in your life, that you've lost somebody that you loved, or you're just sick, or whatever the case is, because of social media, you're not allowed to ever have a bad day. You always got to be on at all times. Otherwise, people got, I got T. He was a butthole. He was this. You couldn't talk, and not knowing that this guy or this girl is hurting right now. They just lost somebody, or they just going through some stuff, or maybe, as we say, the show goes on and you're sick as a dog, but you got to get up there and sing. And maybe you're not exactly your best, but you still put on a good show. Well, it's on social media now. So for me, it was like, I think there was a lot more mystique to the artists that we loved. You were so excited to hear about Michael and Prince because you didn't see them everywhere. You know what I'm saying? They weren't sandblasted on your phone and here and there and the other thing. And then, and then you had to have talent to be successful. Now, not so much.
So you believe? I mean, there is still talent today,
Yes.
but you don't have to be as talented.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Y'all all agree with that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. Well, I have seen a couple people like that, like her and people like that. But for the
Who are
most part,
talented.
who are very
Yeah,
talented.
okay,
Yeah,
please.
Well, I'm gonna say, I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
people who are very talented, but for the most part, everyone's using some sort of computerized thing to.
You remember when they made fun of T-Pain for
Yes.
auto-tuning?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and now everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Nobody
can actually
uses it-
sing.
Yeah.
He can actually
on-
sing. That's
on-
the scary
on
part.
singing-
Not the scary
oh,
part,
with
but the
Masked
Masked Singer, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was
Oh, the
amazing.
dude can sing.
But
the
not
dude
only
can sing.
that, before the Masked Singer,
Yeah.
there was a video of him at like some library or something. He was doing a private show with a guitar player.
yeah.
Singing with
All the
no
hits
auto-tune,
with no-
and the dude was killing it.
And he just did it to sound different. But everybody made fun. Jay-Z came out with songs about it. Everybody was it. And now every artist is like, and we sounding like old men bitching about new music
course.
today.
Of course.
But it is different.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
different.
It is. Yeah,
You
it
know?
is.
Definitely.
What are you liking? You said her. Any other artists you're
Oh
liking?
man,
Bruno Mars for
Yeah.
me.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God, yes.
Bruno's killing it. Ed Sheeran is killing it. I like a lot of independent artists too. Like there's a girl named Emily King who I just absolutely love anything she does. There's another group called King. They're three girls. Another independent group, also super dope. But
And the new one that we got to turn yourself on to. Remember the group that we were all in the car? The New Respects.
The New Respects.
Look it up
Yeah,
and listen to us. What's the first single? The
Before We Let the Sun Go
Before We
Down.
Let the Sun Go Down. Look it up and then listen to that
And
whole record.
I don't know if you know this.
Fire, man.
What vibe is it?
It's kind of like, so if you know me, I surf iTunes every Friday when new music comes out.
Okay.
And I just go through and I just, and I'll end up like clicking one thing and then seeing they have a little section of, you may also like these artists. So I just clicked through a lot of stuff. So I found this group called The New Respects. I actually found them in the Christian section, but they're more inspirational. And what I loved about it is it was a throwback to the 80s and the 90s.
Because the name sounds like it.
Yeah.
It's good, man.
It's a good
like
record.
Funk with some pop tinges. It's like someone said it's like a Black Haim,
Okay, yeah.
what's called Black. They're all brothers and sisters, I think.
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
Amazing.
They're family. It's a
They
really
all
good
play
record.
their own instruments.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Now, what is your creative process today when y'all do a new song or y'all start writing? How does that work with you guys?
Different for each one.
Yeah, it's different. I kind of I've been doing songwriting for me personally. Like that's like when we're not doing All-4-One, that's all I do.
Okay.
So I do a lot of production and whatnot. So a lot of times, but not all the times, I'm always working on something and I might be working on something and I'm like, yo, this would be great for us, or like right now we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. Mm-hmm. And
Can you believe that, first of all?
crazy, man.
25th anniversary.
Same four guys.
Yes, never broken up, never replaced anybody. And
Why
came back.
is that, you think?
Because we like each other.
Yeah. But there's more to liking each other, right?
We like and respect each other.
Honestly, I think too. Also, like we all have a lot of we were all raised similar, in a similar manner. Aircraft. I mean, not aircraft.
Born in an airplane.
Air Force brats.
Air Force. Families. He was more of the Air Force brat that moved every 3 years. We didn't have to move every 3 years, but our fathers and family were all military, so we had that side of it.
And I also think that being in the music industry, there's a lot of bad in the music industry that, we went through with different managers or record labels. And with that happening, I think we chose to stick together, but like, you know what, we will take you all on.
Right.
And, so as a whole, we're much stronger. So we always said, when we say we're done is when it's done. You don't get to tell us when we're done,
Was it like at your peak when y'all were just hitting #1 songs and things like that? Was there ever a time where y'all butted heads where you thought the group was going to break up? Like y'all couldn't get past a certain point?
No, because listen, we're men, right? We are not always going to agree on everything. But I think there's enough respect amongst us that we know that we can disagree without being disrespectful. Because, as men in general, you just want to feel like you're being respected. So I think, we all have our disagreements, but it's just never turned into, yo, we can take this outside, bruh. Or, you know what, forget y'all, I don't need this, I'm going. So it's never, we've never had that.
Was there a rival group like everybody would pitch y'all against?
They always try to put us against Boys to Men. Yeah. Every time we go somewhere, it's always like, Boys to Men, is it All-4-One? And all of our songs are Boys to Men songs. Right. I swear, I fought with somebody online. They're like, that's not All-4-One, that's Boys to Men. All-4-One covered it. I have the record with Boys to Men saying it. I was like, you know what? I will give you $500 if you just take a picture of that album and show me where it has I Swear on the back of it. I'll wait.
Wow.
It never came. She was at my sister's wedding. I'm like.
So now you write back to the people, don't you?
Yeah.
You're that dude. You're that dude.
Not as myself.
Yeah. We
Not
got
as myself.
He's
got
our
burner accounts?
Yeah, he's our Kevin Durant.
So I like, do y'all, I can't imagine y'all deal with a lot of hate online.
You know what?
I'm about to say.
I think you do. And we have,
Really?
not as much as others, but
Like
at
you
the
make
same
love
time.
music, you make great music, I hate you.
But
What?
listen, the internet gives people courage and strength that they don't have in life.
Yeah.
Because they know that they can say whatever they want to say to anybody they want to say it to and don't have to normally, unless they're on World Star, worry about somebody showing up on their front door like, yo, you want to talk all that on the gram, what's up? For the most part, people can be trolls, they can be mean.
I've never really seen anything. The meanest thing that I've seen It's the meanest thing, but with a compliment. You know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about Tony?
Oh no!
no,
But that was like
great.
funny. That was
That
funny.
actually was great.
No, the meanest thing I would see is like, for a boy band, they're not the prettiest, but they make great music.
That's not bad.
It's like, thank you. Sort of thing. That's not
It's
the
better than,
meanest.
you know what? Y'all used to be able to sing. Like,
Right.
that's bad. You don't want that.
But that's the one thing I'll say about us. No matter our whole career, newspapers, critics, our fans online, the one thing they've never said about us is we couldn't sing.
Now-
That's how they always end it. But they can sing.
But they can sing. And that's the most important
Right.
part. So now you mentioned Boyz II Men. Have y'all ever done a show on the same show with them?
Yeah.
And what was that conversation like?
We just did one.
just did one in
recently.
August.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about back in the day, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no!
No.
It took us this year, last August, to be the first time doing a show with Boyz II Men.
Then now,
Nah,
would y'all?
we did one before that.
Yeah, the one in Alabama or.
Oh, you're right.
Georgia.
You're right.
And how was that? Y'all being on the same show? Did y'all reminisce? Did y'all talk about? They used to compare us, or y'all didn't even?
We talked to a couple of them.
I mean, the
A
thing
couple
is,
of different versions of it.
No, a couple of the guys in the group. we
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
to.
I mean,
That's why I
because
just-
a lot of times it's not time before the show
Yeah.
because everybody's getting themselves together, warming up. Sometimes you got like meet and greets and all that stuff before the show. So both times we didn't get a chance to really like chop it up.
We sat and talked with and Sean and Juan for a while.
I didn't. I
You weren't?
Oh yeah, we did.
In the
Oh, you
circle?
didn't get invited to that one? Or?
Yeah, I didn't. But listen, but Sean
got the
lives around the
picture.
corner from me. Like I see him all the time.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
talk, and he's come to my studio, and we've worked. So, I mean, we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So now, have you ever had what was the peak when y'all know y'all broke? When did you know? Like, because then they couldn't hit you up on social media. Was it one day you just started going out and then just people started stopping you everywhere? And do you remember where that was?
You know what? It happens so fast.
It does.
I was working as a mechanic, and I was going to school as a Ford mechanic up here near Disneyland and all that. And I'm working on a car. They're teaching me, and I hear So Much in Love on the radio. And I just start laughing. They're like, what? I go, I don't think I'm going to be here next week. They're like, really? What? You going to have dog? I'm like, no, listen to that. That's the group I'm in. I don't think I'm, and I wasn't there next week.
Wow. And it just moved that fast.
How
did.
that fast?
When your song hit the radio, how soon after that were you on the road and everywhere?
Well, we
it
had
was
to finish the
crazy.
album.
We had to finish
we
that
had to
record.
finish the album. So when So Much in Love came out,
Oh yeah, they dropped singles first.
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah,
And then
no album.
the anticipation for the album.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
and
But then it
yeah.
went up the charts so fast.
Yeah.
it just started taking off, and it was one of these things where we were on an independent record label, and the record started taking off, and I was at the studio all the time, and I was answering the phones. So I'm talking like, yeah, this is the head of Sony. Hi, this is Warner Brothers. This is this, and I'm taking notes and the whole nine.
Oh, so all these big companies
all
are
in
trying to
this-
call to
they're
get
all
to y'all.
called. 'Cause they
Small
wanna
studio
be
in
a-
Chatsworth, like
Yeah.
a makeshift studio. Yeah.
And so I'm taking messages and notes and whatnot. And then next thing you know, I remember our old manager was like, hey, I want you guys to come by the studio and sing for a friend of mine. And it was like the guy who was the head of Atlantic Records. And it's like, okay, yeah, we're partnering up with them. This is your new record label, And
Oh, so y'all didn't have any choice or options, and y'all were probably so green. You were like,
Yeah,
okay, that's
exactly.
great. Let's do it.
great. I mean, Atlantic, I just remember looking at, the Atlantic logo on my
So
albums.
many records.
Yeah. And then literally, man, we had to crank out an album in 5 weeks. And this is before the days of like Pro Tools. This is
Yeah.
when you're still recording the tape.
On the real,
And
where
you
they
just
had
had to do it right. Do it again.
We had to sing everything, every chorus and everything. It was wrong.
There was
Yeah.
there was no cheating. And
You had
we
to work.
We had to work.
We had 3 studios going. So it's like you have Tony and Alfred at one, D-List be at the other, I be at one. So then I'm singing,
Switching.
he's singing, and it's like, all right, we got to switch now. Send them over to do backgrounds. And this one, Jamie, you go do leads on the one. D-List just finished. D, you go do, and that was like 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And we would go from like 10 in the morning till 3 or 4 in the morning, get a couple hours of sleep, and then do it all again.
You know, when I noticed, I realized we had hit it, it was because So Much in Love was climbing the charts, but we were working. And we got on our plane to go to Texas
San
to do the
Antonio.
Alamo Dome for the MTV Stay in School
San
thing.
Antonio, right.
Dead tired because we were working in the studio so much. We got there and we were out there and they're like, and ladies and gentlemen, all for one. Hearing the arena go, I was like,
What?
I was like, what? Because they hadn't really seen it.
Well, did y'all have a lot of songs? Because
Just
you're
so much in love.
Just the one.
So y'all went out there saying one song.
Well, yeah, it was the MTV Stay in School thing.
Okay,
So yeah,
all right.
we would just like go out there and sing the song, and we were dead tired.
And it was NBA and
Yeah.
yeah.
So this song goes up to charts. You're in the studio trying to make an album.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever in that moment sit back and go, "Oh, are we doing this right?" Or question, or are you just going with the flow? You're like, whatever happens, happens.
Just happy to be singing.
Yeah. But the thing is, So Much in Love, which is the acapella song, it's on the Billboard charts with a bullet. I mean, every week it's getting higher and higher, and it's looking like it's on its way to #1. So that was just crazy in itself. That I'll never forget. I was driving home from the studio one night. This is how I knew we had made it. I was driving from the studio, and at that time, 92.3 The Beat was the radio station here in LA.
Theo.
Oh, we used to talk like this. My name is Theo.
Right. But I was talking to, you remember Diana? She was the lady. Anyways, she did the late nights. So she played our song, and she says,
Oh yeah,
I love this song. Yeah, she's
Sexy
Diana.
voice.
Yeah, she's like, I love this song. I just wish we knew more about the group that sang it. So I called.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, I pulled over, got on a payphone. Like, hey. Yes, they connected me. I called and I said, listen, I don't normally do this, but I'm in the group that sings the song that Diana just said she wants to know more about. So she's like, so who are you guys? I'm like, we're all for one. I'm trying to talk sexy too, right? We all for one.
He's like 17 at the time trying to talk sexy.
And with a very high voice. I'm like, yeah, we all.
He used to sound like a girl. Yeah.
And I was like, she was like, where are you guys from? I'm like, we're from Palmdale. She's like, yeah, baby, don't ever tell nobody that. Yeah, just tell them you from LA. I was like, okay.
True story.
Oh yeah.
That's hilarious. So where were you? Were y'all all at different places the first time you heard the song on the radio?
Yeah, because I was working at Saban as a temp agency.
Okay.
And then I was going on my lunch breaks calling the radio station 92.3
to request
it in different voices, as many I can do. And they finally they played it, and I just remember sitting in my car like, wow, is this real? And I wanted to call him again. Play it again,
And what about you two? Where were you?
Alfred, I was with actually Tony. He was working on cars. I was pulling them up for him. So basically, and then as I was pulling up, the radio came on, with So Much Love. Like, what in the world? So I pulled in, hey guys, listen to this.
So y'all had no idea it was going to be played?
No clue.
Nobody gave y'all a warning?
No.
So how did he get to that point?
I mean, they hired. So the independent label that we
rep?
were with, they hired a radio promoter. And I remember the first radio station to start playing it was actually in the Bay Area, and it was they were called Hot 97. It was this guy named Pete Manriquez. He was the DJ, and he loved the record so much that he literally started calling radio stations, all their sister stations around the country, saying, "Listen, there's this acapella song by this group R&B. Every time I play it, the phone lights up." And then he started making copies and sending it to people.
Wow, on his own.
They can't do that these days.
No.
Because you got to go through big wigs and what the play.
Oh, it's so corporate now.
Yeah, and it just started zooming up the charts. Everywhere it got played, the phone would light up. But this ain't social media age. So it's like for somebody to be like, hey, you #1 in Chicago. I live in Palmdale. I'm like, oh,
right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So how fast from when it took off in Palmdale or LA to all across the country?
Like a month and a half?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
it was
still
fast.
fast.
Yeah,
it was
like
so
a
funny
month.
because when we were doing the video for So Much in Love, so we go to this high school out. Was it Santa Monica? Or,
Yeah, University High School in Santa Monica.
and so we get there. They're setting up. We're in the makeup and the hair trailer, getting ready.
Well, before you finish that, because no one knew what he looked like, because everything was put out there was just a single, and the cassette single that came out, we purposely only put a brick wall on it.
Why?
That said because of the
they were-
interracial.
they were
and
worried.
The mix.
We didn't.
So,
yeah.
Oh,
we didn't
that's
want.
interesting.
We didn't want people to prejudge the look of the group
And Atlantic
before
Records
they had a
was
chance
worried,
to hear about
too,
it.
'cause
Yeah.
they were saying the same thing. They were
What
like,
year was this?
So this
93.
was 93, but remember, Color Me Bad was before us, and at this point, I wouldn't say a backlash, but they weren't as big as they were, and the label was worried that with us being a multiracial group, that people wouldn't give our music a chance.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm Black and Asian, but in '93 I was just graduating high school, and I lived in Houston, so I saw that. I went to a pretty much all white school, so I went through all that, but I didn't know. I never. Wow.
Yeah.
So the record label, and they told y'all that.
Oh yeah. They
How was
literally
that conversation?
like
and how'd you take it?
I was fine with it. Just get the record out there. I just want to hit singers. They're gonna have to see us at some point, But if it's not gonna impede on our success,
Do you think people thought you were a white group then, or
No.
all
No.
black, or
I think they thought we were all black. They were
yeah.
more shocked when they saw Tony Alford.
Yeah. Yeah.
who let these people in?
Right.
Because the thing is, the record got started at R&B radio first.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
So
Yeah,
of course
okay.
everybody thought, it's just four brothers singing, right?
So university, I didn't mean to.
So we go to do the video and we're there and everything is getting set up, and all the kids are walking between classes like, who y'all think you are?
Y'all
What-
ain't Jodeci.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't
setting up like y'all gonna do something. So then for the first time I remember we're sitting on the steps of the university, and you can still hear the kids
Heckling
talking
us.
and heckling.
Because they didn't know who you were.
They didn't know who we were.
And then the director, her name was Nancy, she says, all right, playback. And then you hear, as we stroll along.
Oh, that's you! Oh, yo, boy, come here. Look at
Now everybody's lining up, and they want to, get
Yeah,
autographs.
2 seconds ago, we wasn't.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
How'd y'all deal with that fame? Because how old were y'all then?
So I'm the baby.
Yeah.
And I was barely, I was 17 when we got the contracts, but we waited till I was 18 basically to sign them.
All right.
17.
Yeah, I was 20.
So 18,
I was 20.
19, 20,
Right.
21, yeah.
45.
32. Yes. Hey,
I
listen,
thought we were
Black
going
Don't
for
Crack.
drinks after this, Mike, but I don't want to know you no more.
Yeah, well, he was talking about,
Well, for y'all three, how'd you deal with success at such a young age?
well, it just wasn't fun because we had a built-in chaperone everywhere we went, so
You had a father figure rolling around with y'all.
he's like,
like, I hate
Jamie,
this.
that food ain't gonna eat itself. And I'm like,
Don't let your eyes be bigger than your stomach, boy.
that's right.
You need to respect your elders right now. That's what you need to do.
He's like, a hard head makes for a soft. Right. So,
But how'd y'all deal with that success at such a young age? Who'd y'all have to kind of level you out?
You know what? I think we had each other. It happened so fast that we didn't realize what the heck was going on.
Not at all.
Not a clue. We didn't realize that we were as big as we got, because they're like, okay, album's done. You're gonna do 8 nights at Disneyland now for
grad nights.
For grad nights. But in the meantime, while you're in between the shows, you're gonna fly to Europe and do some press, and then you're gonna come back and do 2 shows.
every
And
weekend come back to Disney.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem real. Like, one of the things I always say that I regret from back then is I never lived in the moment. So how do we deal with success? I didn't. I was like, I was so afraid it was going to end, because our first single came out and went straight up the charts to top 5. And I was like, wow, that happened. And then the next single was I Swear.
Oh my God.
So here we are at Disneyland. It's like, I Swear came out, and they're playing it off of cassettes, and it's rising the charts. And I'm like, what's going on? 2 weeks at number 1, 3, 6, 8, 9, 10. I'm like, what? You guys just tied Elvis.
It
I'm
stopped
like,
at 11. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, so I refused to deal with it. I was like,
So you didn't live in the moment.
Nope.
Did any of y'all live in the moment, or
I
y'all were
think we
always
were-
worried about the next
problem
thing?
was I wasn't as worried about D because we call him Debbie Downer for a reason. 'Cause he's always like- exactly. For me though, we were just so busy. That first year we went through having passport pages added 3 times that year, and then getting a whole new one. And this is just in the span of 6 months. And the thing is, we were gone for the first 5 years of our career, a minimum of 300 days out of every year. So when I decided I'm going to move to LA from Palmdale, literally I had 2 days to move. It was like, okay, listen, you got 2 days and then you're going to Australia and New Zealand and for 2 months. So I literally drove down here, found a place. The next day, Alfred helps me put all my boxes in, and then I left for 3 months. And it took me a year to just unpack the boxes because I would come home for a weekend or 3 or 4 days, and then we'd be gone again for another month, 2 months.
My first townhouse, I figured out I was there. I had a year lease. I was there 26 days. So I said, screw that. I'm buying a house.
Right?
I'm like, if I'm going to pay for something, it's going to be mine.
How exhausted were y'all?
exhausted.
In the record company, and now that you look back on it, they don't care.
They don't
No.
care.
No.
We would go to Korea and get mad Because listen, they would give us a schedule.
Oh,
The schedule would start at 6 a.m. and end at midnight. And in the schedule, it would be like, get some food at the hotel for breakfast. And then it was like, we're going to do all this. And then at 9 p.m., we're going to eat. I'm like, well, what about in between? Lunch and recess? Yeah, but it was literally just one thing to the next, because back then
you couldn't even experience where you were.
Well, not only that,
no.
there wasn't. We didn't have the technology to be able to do this and say, "Hey, don't worry, we'll send you a video for your Christmas promo 6 months from now." When we went there, they knew we would be so busy that we may not come back for the rest of the year. So we were doing everything. We were doing, New Year's Eve performances, Christmas performances,
July.
Valentine's, like everything. So they would have it for the next season. Because we may not make it back.
Did you, since you didn't live in the moment, but did you have a lot of pictures and things to remember the moment, though, at least?
Remember we bought video cameras?
Yeah. Well, but see, that was the problem, right? Technology. So, we have a camcorder, and that thing is this big, it's huge. And when you have all this luggage and you're trying to, so in the beginning, we would all be walking around with our camcorders. Yeah. After a while, that thing got heavy.
Yeah.
We just like, I don't need this. We're just going to leave this at home.
There's still a lot of pictures and everything.
There
around
is,
there.
but not as much. If we would have had our cell phones now.
Well, that's ridiculous. Of course.
We'd have everything on film.
Now, how do you any of y'all besides yourself have kids? Anybody? How many?
Yeah.
How do you deal with them in social media?
I mean, I keep mine away. To be
yours are
honest,
2 and 4.
Yeah, mine are 2. Yeah, okay. but I mean, like even
you sound like you're a super dad.
No, even on my
But I keep them all. They're not gonna be naked on social media. But in a diaper.
In his defense, 2 and 4-year-olds are on social media.
But no, like even on my pages, I keep my kids. Like you might see 1 or 2 pictures of a year. But that's about it.
That's about it, huh? Yeah. See, I'm opposite, man. I'll put my son everywhere. Like there you go. That's me. That's me. No, I don't know, man. Maybe, I think about it, but I will say this. If we're having another kid in like 3 weeks. If I have
congrats, brother. That's awesome.
Thank you. But we don't know if it's a girl or boy. But I've already, in my mind, if it's a girl, you'll never see her till she's like 25 years old.
That's right.
I don't know. That's my mindset. Like, I'm not protective with a boy, but with a girl, I'm like, nah. Nobody. I don't want anybody commenting. On her.
The thing is, honestly, we talk about this all the time. How when you see 12-year-olds now, and think about when you were 12, it's a completely different thing. They're so much more grown. Now, I also do think that all the hormones in the food are making them develop early.
100%.
Yes, but they're so much more grown. They don't have the same childhood as us. I mean, remember when I was 12, man, me and my friend were riding on our bikes pretending we were doing chips. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Putting the cocaine. Remember putting the cocaine?
Oh, yeah. Like we were daring each other to eat Pop Rocks and drink a Coke afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
your stomach's going to blow up.
Right, exactly. But we playing tag.
They killed Mikey.
Hide go seek. But nowadays, a 12-year-old is on Instagram and is an influencer and has all of these brands paying that 12. I just saw a video of a 7-year-old in Korea who made $6 million last year on YouTube.
She just bought a penthouse somewhere in Korea.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yeah, no, it's true.
All she does is open
toys.
like
Gifts
toys.
and stuff. Yes.
He's open box.
Open box, man. When my kid turns 5 or 6, guess what he's doing?
He's open as a box.
This is not going to be a podcast. This is going to be an open.
About to take my child to Popeyes right now. You review this as a 6-year-old.
Let's talk about the. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying, kids don't have the same childhood just to be a kid that we had, to sit down. I mean, for me, I looked forward to before school and after school watching the He-Man and the Transformers and my cartoons and going to play outside.
Kids Incorporated.
Kids don't even know about playing outside.
Incorporated.
K-I-D.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, kids don't have that anymore.
No.
And they're growing up so fast, and I think social media is just even making that worse.
And I know this is not y'all because y'all old school like me, but I see a lot of parents want to be friends with their kids.
Oh yeah.
Instead of parents. But here's what's interesting. When I was growing up, my dad did not care what I did. Like, as far as he was not into what I was into. Atari 2600, he could care less.
Right.
But now adults are leading the charge. They're buying PS4s for themselves and be like, hey, son,
but
and using
listen,
kids as
Really?
But
using kids as his
Oh,
kids.
I mean, I don't have.
But here's
one.
why. But here's why. You got to remember, right?
We grew up in that age.
We were the first video game
true.
generation. Like I had everything. I had Pong and television,
ColecoVision.
I had
Atari
Atari
2600.
2600,
That's what I had, Atari.
Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Dreamcast, like all of that
all of
stuff.
them.
We had all of that.
Yeah.
So it's like when I would go see them. Matter of fact, when I moved out of my house, I was 17. I moved in with Tony and Alfred, right? And I used to tell them, like, man, my mama be tripping. They like, man, your mama don't be tripping. So then they came to my house to play Nintendo.
She be tripping.
Three of us in there playing Nintendo because that's what we did. We
Tecmo
came in-
Bowl.
Exactly. They didn't believe. You know how Eddie Murphy used to talk about his mama being a professional shoe thrower?
Yeah.
They thought that was just a story till they came by and my mom threw a curveball changeup that went around Tony's head, around the back of Alfred's, came around the back and hit me.
Yeah.
And then that's when they were like, okay, you can move in with us. But I say all that to say, like, we would get together to play video games. And at that point, we're out of high school. And that's why I think now you have, 45-year-olds, 50-year-olds still gaming because we're the generation that started that.
Well, yeah, it's just all I wish is they could. You remember Atari? It was just one button.
Yeah.
It would make you run, jump, dunk.
Yeah.
That red button did everything.
Yeah.
Can they bring it back to where they don't have so many
yeah.
damn
You don't
buttons?
like this?
I know. I'm like confused.
And not
yeah.
so violent. I think that's the problem.
I get scared. I played one shooter game. It was so real.
Yeah.
Like I was scared to walk into the like physically scared to walk into the. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't play these games anymore.
That's what's
I
wrong
can't
with the
play
kids.
this.
That's
No.
what's wrong with the kids.
Yeah.
I don't say that. I
When you
don't
put
agree.
people in
You
real
like video
situations.
games, so you still play.
No,
Well,
video
not
games
only
great,
that-
but I'm just saying those shooting games
But
where
what's
the
the difference between the shooting games and the movies where people getting shot in the movies?
Oh no, I have a problem with that as well. I think
okay.
movies and video games are the problem with kids today. They're desensitized.
No.
I think they're desensitized to
The
violence.
parents
and
are the problem.
I love,
Listen, the
and I
parents-
absolutely, I don't blame the parents too much because kids will watch anything when the parents aren't around. But I will say this, even the violence, and I love it. I watch it all the day. Stuff like UFC and all that stuff, love it. Kids watch that. I watch some of these World Star videos these days when kids are fighting and they're trying to kill each other with knee kicks and stumps. I'm like, where did they get that from?
But
They're
let me ask you
watching
this.
UFC.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. When you were a child,
But I love UFC.
listen, when you were a child, if you body slammed your sister, what would have happened to you with your dad?
I'd have got my ass bit.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen anymore.
That don't happen no more.
Because
So
your
you
kid will call the police.
exactly. So you can't say it's the video games because we were watching. I remember watching the first
But you're
WWF, SummerSlam.
But the problem with that is you said if I body slam my sister, what would happen to me? So you went to what would happen to me with my parents, but you didn't address why I'm body slamming my sister.
Listen, it doesn't matter.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter.
What did I see?
Because
Because I felt like I can body slam my sister.
we were watching
UFC or wrestling.
We were watching
Either way, I learned it from
WWF
somewhere
then,
else.
and I did the Ultimate Warrior on my sister and took her out. But you know what happened though?
Because you learned it from
but
wrestling.
listen, but pain bring your memory back. So after I body slammed her, and my dad got his razor strap out, and he said I wasn't gonna sit for a week. I didn't sit for a week, and you know what? I never body slammed her again because I remembered the pain I went through.
And I agree with that.
So for the parents in here, so do you believe your kid has to fear you a little bit?
Yes. Absolutely. A kid has to have a healthy fear of their parents,
A healthy fear.
a healthy
A healthy
fear of their
fear.
parents,
Healthy fear.
or there'll be consequences. I had a friend of mine, and she, I probably shouldn't talk about it, but I'm not talking
Don't
about
say
her.
names.
I won't say names, but I was always telling her, you can't let him get away with all this stuff. You're running him, you're trying to, oh, please don't do this. Well, go stand in, and he was just disignore. I'm like, if you don't get that under control, by the time he's 11, it's done.
Because parents always like, oh, when they understand,
Right.
I can. They understand now.
Yeah. They
I
know
tell
something.
you, it's so funny. Like me and my wife is the sweetest person on earth, and my son knows what he can get away with her.
Right.
He gets away with me. He knows if he gets in a car with my wife, he's gonna cry till she gives him an iPad. If I drive him somewhere, he knows not to even ask. He just quiet in the car. He
Yeah.
don't say nothing.
Yeah.
So kids they know.
Yeah.
They know.
We all were kids once. I used to
Yes.
play my mama
Wow,
and
that's
daddy
prophetic.
against each other like it was a Super Nintendo. I got away with everything with my mom. I knew how to get to her. As long as I made her laugh and started singing to her, whatever, I got what I needed.
Me too, because I just blamed it on my brother.
There you go.
But
was
the
very
problem
smart with
is,
that.
and here's the thing. My wife and I would talk because my wife is a very loving person. We have a good balance. I was more of the, the
disciplinarian,
and she's the one who provides lots of love. But at the same time, you know, we were talking, and I would say to her, and she agreed. It takes as much love to discipline as it does to love.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You have to discipline because you love, because the world's judgment is going to be a lot harsher than your judgment. And right now we live in the whole everybody gets a trophy at soccer movement.
Exactly.
No
right?
participation trophies.
Yes, the participation trophy. So nobody understands that losing builds character. That sometimes not winning is the best thing that can happen to you.
Because it makes you
harder.
believe that I never want to lose again. If
right.
everybody getting trophies, like, okay,
Right,
this
but-
is acceptable.
Yeah.
Exactly. But to me, it all goes hand in hand with also discipline. Because listen, not every child needs whoopings, right? Not every child needs that. Every child is different. Some children.
What?
Oh, sorry, Tony. I should have told you that before you started whooping them.
Right.
But the thing is, some children can get away with a good talking to. Now, not most kids. Some kids need a talking to after you done warmed up their backside.
Yeah.
Because pain brings your memory back. And the thing is, kids need to understand that there will be some type of reaction for all of your actions. So
Yes.
if you do positive things will come back to you.
I see your son
I'm
whispering.
about to say,
right now.
right.
Your son's whispering right now.
watching that same thing.
what?
He's just your son
What
whispering.
members do you have of pain?
He's like, this is bull crap, Mom.
He's like, he's not really like that. Come on, what's he talking about?
How come there's two dads? One for social and one for...
Listen, I'm not going to say names either. One time we had some children at our house once who were acting up, and my son says to us, "Thank y'all for whooping me."
Oh, yeah. You told me that,
Yeah, because these kids were, having a ball and wasn't listening to nobody. And he knows that when and he's the youngest, we would have like my dad, he had a look.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even have to talk to me.
Right?
Just all of a sudden out of nowhere, I just see him
Start
like
crying.
this. You would have thought I was a statue, And we had the same thing. They had to know that, listen, you can be fun. You can have fun. I love you. I'll be your friend sometimes, but I'm also going to be your dad, because if I'm not there to teach you wrong from right and to steer you in the right direction, when you become an adult, it's too late.
It's
Too
so
late
funny.
by 11.
I was my son's 2.5, so we were at the pediatrician, and there was this kid that was 3 or 4 and just slapped his dad, and like pow, and I'm watching this laughing. The mom runs in and goes, "No, you got a timeout. You got to sit in the corner. You can't be doing that." And I'm like, "This kid, all you're gonna do," I know he's 3 or 4,
Yeah.
but you just. Like, he didn't care.
Right.
The kid was just like, "Oh, okay, I'll sit in this corner," but we're in a doctor's office. And as soon as they put him in a corner, they called him into the office. So he got off.
Right.
And the father was so just like,
Oh, yeah.
"Oh, my goodness."
Yeah, see, and
I was like, look, I hate to say a father deserved it, but that father did not step up and say,
and
"Don't
you know
do
what's
that."
going to happen the
Right.
next time? The kid's going to be more upset the next time that you put me in timeout. I'm going to slap you harder.
Yeah.
And the thing is, all I'm saying is, not everybody agrees
All I'm
with
saying is
spankings.
beat your kids.
No,
Right.
listen. Not everybody agrees with spankings, and that's cool.
That's
right?
cool.
But in the black community, that's what worked for us.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can look at a lot of us folks who turned out the way we turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And evidently the spankings helped. All I'm saying though is whatever you decide to do, your children needs to understand wrong from right. What's that?
I can see.
Did not help
Oh,
dealers.
no. Anyways, your kids need to understand wrong from right, and they need to understand that if they act bad, then bad things are going to come to them. And that's while they're in your house and then while they're out of your house.
All right, I want to bring it back to the music.
Okay.
I want to bring it back to when y'all first started. What groups did y'all look up to?
Man.
New Edition.
Yeah.
Oh,
Edition.
yes.
But also even some of the older groups. 'cause,
Yeah.
my mom used to do this. She used to do a oldie but goodie party once a month. And all of our friends and aunties and uncles from LA would drive out to Lancaster. We'd stay up the night before, and my dad would have his reel-to-reel, just putting all her favorite songs. So I grew up listening to a lot of old music like Sam and Dave, Temptations, just everything. Sam Cooke, Wilson Pickett, a lot of gospel, a lot of jazz.
A lot of the 80s stuff, too.
Yeah.
I love all the 80s pop music as well.
How'd y'all meet, and when'd you know you had something?
Okay. Well, we met actually at a karaoke show. A karaoke show at the AV
Well, we
Fair.
met you at a karaoke show.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yes.
So
But I was
the
going to take it back
begin-
further
yeah,
than that.
I know.
Let's start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
We grew up together. I pretty much raised Alfred. I did not do a good job, but we went to junior high, high
didn't
school
whip him
together.
enough.
Yeah, I did not whip him enough.
He didn't have the razor strip.
Or the shoe.
Then we met Jamie at a talent contest at the college we were attending.
Out in Antelope Valley, and then from there, I exchanged numbers with them. We did some local radio station jingles out in Palmdale, and one day,
So
Tony
y'all were
and I-
jingle singers.
We were doing whatever we could.
Did you? What's the first jingle you ever seen? You
I
remember?
mean, I don't know if y'all remember. I just remember there was one that was like Hot 97.7 FM. Yeah. They gave us a whole bunch.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember them. There was a long time ago.
Okay.
And then Tony and I were broke, and we were just trying to win some money. So the local radio station out there, Hot 97, was doing a karaoke show at the fairgrounds. The winner was going to get $977 because they're
Gotcha.
Hot
97.
97.7. So I'm like, yo, Tony, let's go get this money, bro. This is easy work. We got this. So we show up, and right before we go on, we hear this guy singing, "What did you think I would do?" And we look over, he's on his knees, he's rolling around like he's Patti LaBelle.
'Cause I was Pope.
He's doing the Star Search growl. Yeah.
I needed that money.
So I was like, yo, we ain't gonna let that little dude take our money, Tony. We gonna have to take Ebony and Ivory to church. And not your church, my church. Like, I need you to get gospel with it. So
we tied.
We go up and we sing, and then we all tied. And they said, we want y'all to come back for the semifinals.
Okay.
And then we lost.
We all lost.
Y'all lost to who?
I don't know, some girl named Beyonce, but it doesn't matter. So that's besides the point. That's where we usually end our story. But
I love how our story always ends with somebody who definitely didn't grow up when we were
right.
Yeah, she was about 2, and she's amazing.
That's why I'm so mad we lost her, a 2-year-old.
Yeah, right.
But the funny thing is, I never thought of that would have been unethical for y'all to win.
Why?
Because you did jingles for the station.
that's true.
After 25 years, that just
They
hit
didn't
me.
know that.
You did jingles for the station.
No, we
Had
did
you would've
jingles
won,
one time for the station.
You
Wow.
worked for the station.
Look, you already saying they cheated.
no. But we
We did
lost.
not get paid.
That's
So,
right.
But here's the funny
we didn't
thing.
get paid for those jingles.
That's okay. So you need a better manager.
I did my best.
The funny thing about it is, as far as where we met at, I'm an Air Force brat, as we said, and I used to live out in Edwards Air Force Base out in the Lancaster area back in the 80s. Don't do the math. So I actually met up with Jamie when he was like maybe like 9 or 10.
And my aunt was the choir
Director for my church choir.
Yeah.
And so they
The
invited
senior choir.
him. Shut up. So they invited, he was 9, I was like 12 or 11 or something like that. And he
math don't
came
work at
and he
all.
sang. Listen, the man hasn't got 3 hours to talk.
Okay, sorry.
This ain't a Joe Rogan podcast. Come on now. I ain't got 4 hours.
Exactly. So they invited him to sing at our anniversary, our church anniversary. And little Jamie Jones came up, and I remember hearing the little kid sing, and I said to the person next to me, I'm like, wow, that kid's good. He's going to be something someday. I remember distinctly saying those words.
And then as soon as I finished.
Shut up. Let me
No, I'm
finish the story.
saying, it's a good thing. The choir comes in, they march through, and then he sings lead. And I remember watching, thinking like, that dude with the crooked tie is good.
Oh, yeah, because my ties are always crooked in every video.
even to today.
And so then I moved away, and I came back in the 90s,
Right.
and then the karaoke contest we met up, and we were at Magic Mountain, and then something he said or sang, and they just tunnel vision was like, I was like, did you ever sing at a church? He was like, oh, I always had this one song I sang in all the church, and he started singing it, and I was like, oh my God. It's the kid that I said was going to be something someday. Well, I thought that God was just laughing like, just you wait and see. Give it 5 or 6 years, you're going to see. And sure enough, it was Jamie.
Was there ever, like, what was the biggest moment where, you know, we talked about the great things. Was there ever something that just, you know, like not a downfall. Was there a moment where y'all were all like just heartbroken?
As
Like
a group?
As a group?
Probably when we were at the American Music Awards.
And kept losing?
Kept
Right.
losing to everybody. I'm like, wait, man, how we got the biggest song of the year?
Well, that was the Billboard, so we didn't win nothing.
Yeah. But then we've won at the end. I'm talking about the American
Yeah,
Music
we
Awards.
won in the
did
category
win.
we thought we would never win in.
Yeah, the all urban category.
All
Like,
urban.
when that one came, I was like,
with
oh,
Aaliyah
well, we
and
lost
Warren
this.
G and Nate Dogg. I'm like, well, I guess that's 0 for 4. And then like, all for 1. It's like even Salt and Pepper. They were announcing the awards. And so we just finished touring with Salt and Pepper. That's what our residency was with. And so we're friends and all. But even then, back then, they were announcing the winners. And Aaliyah, Warren G, All for 1, Babyface. And the winner is, and you see Pepper's face, All for 1. I was like, wow, she couldn't even hide it. Right? I was like, wow.
But even us, if they had
But
the
even
camera
we were
on
like-
us, we were like,
Ace of Base kept winning them.
Oh, they were so big at
Everywhere.
that time. All right, so when y'all go out and sing, what are y'all tired of singing songs now? I mean, like, no, you still love it, huh?
Yeah.
honestly, you know what? At first, I think I used to get tired of singing, I swear. But then, honestly, once I kind of changed my perspective, we've sang the song so many times that it's second nature for us.
Yeah.
We don't have to think about it. It just comes out. We can literally sing the song and think about completely different things. And honestly, for me now,
It's so true. You're
Did I
zoning
leave the
out.
other
I
one?
swear, did I flip the oven off?
What am I gonna eat after
What am I gonna
this?
eat after
exactly.
this? is over?
No, but seriously,
Am I gonna beat my kid when I get home?
Like, I swear, he better not have brought the F home. Now, we lived in a whole nother age. I'm like,
We should
you
do
know
it.
what? Matter of fact, let me text her right now.
right.
Have his report card out when I get home. And the stars.
We should do a skit like that. Actually,
That'd be hilarious.
Have us on stage singing that and all thinking big bubbles of.
Just a random thing.
But honestly, what I think of now, though, is we've heard so many different stories about what our songs have meant to people. I mean, not only just falling in love, sad stories, happy stories. And when I see the reaction of people as we're singing it, and I see, tears immediately, or I see, some big burly dude who has moved all night stand up and grab his girl so that they can dance, or I see, just other couple over here. It's like when you see that, I'm instantly thinking to myself, I wonder why you're reacting the way you're reacting. Like, what does this song mean to you? And then the other thought is, I'm singing the hell of this record for y'all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's interesting is when you're in the entertainment business, no matter what level, if you have fans, something small you do is so big to them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like something you would just normally do would be like going out of your way a little bit or singing their favorite song. That's so big to them because that's what it became.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what's so great about the industry.
Yes.
And that, when I do comedy, if I'll tell a story and then somebody relate to it and they're like, oh, that made my night because I went through the same thing. And with you guys, life is a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So when you sing a song, boom, they go back to the time where that song really hits them.
The funny thing is, on this I Love the 90s tour, this is the first time that we've actually toured with a lot of other artists because we always toured on our own. But it was like when we were meeting all of these artists who we grew up listening to or who started at the same time we did, but we never got a chance to talk to them and we never got a chance. And it's like, when you hear those songs, it's like, yo, you remember we were driving to the studio and this was coming on and that, so it happens to us as well because we're also fans of the music. And music just has a way of really attaching itself to your memories and your emotions. And you can remember when a song comes on, who you were with, what you were doing, what you were wearing, where you lived, your best friend, the girl who broke your heart. Like everything will come right back to you as soon as you hear that record.
I remember Aaron Hall came out with a song called I Miss You.
Miss You, yeah.
Back in the- That's when the woman, I was in like just freshman year of college. I thought she was the one. She broke my heart. And all I remember, I still remember to this day, crying in my bed with the lights on. I like literally, I remember like it was yesterday. That song, everything. I can't stand that song.
Yeah.
I hate that song. I've never listened to it again. So I can't. What are y'all on tour right now? I know y'all just did a song to help out with. I don't want to phrase it wrong.
Yeah,
but
it's okay.
It's for TAPS, Wounded Veterans.
Wounded Veterans.
Yeah.
Tell me about that experience.
It's a great experience. As we were saying earlier, it's the event we did or the recording we did is a song called "Isn't It Amazing?" And it was a song that I forgot the lady's name.
I forget her name as well,
But her husband was an Air Force pilot, and he had died at combat. And it's something they used to say to each other all the time when he was here. Isn't it amazing that
our family? They wouldn't say goodbye to each other.
Yeah.
They would say,
Isn't it amazing
that I'm gonna see you soon, or isn't it amazing this and that? And that was their saying. And then they said it to each other one last time, and she never heard it from him again.
So this album is going to benefit all the wounded warriors. The money is going to them to help their families out, and it's a great project. A lot of great people are on the project, and the song is amazing.
Yeah, is it after you recorded it? What was the reaction from her? Like,
she wasn't there, but I did see her online. You saw that she posted
Yeah.
online. She was like, I could have never imagined that this would be what it would sound like or what it would be.
And honestly, I mean, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I was glad she wasn't there.
Yeah.
Honestly,
absolutely.
we wouldn't have been able to sing it.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like you missing homegirl. Like, so it's just
So the messed up thing is right before we're getting ready to go sing it, they're like, "Oh, by the way, this is the day that he passed away." We're like,
yeah.
Yes, the day of our
October
recording
30th.
session.
"Don't tell us that."
oh no, oh
Yeah,
no.
So it was hard.
Yeah.
How's it feel before we leave? A couple more questions. How's it feel to be able to hit the road and you still see like those diehard fans out there for you guys?
It's great. It's great to see the diehard fans. It's also great to see the new fans who are surprisingly getting younger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I'm like, you couldn't have been born, but yet they're out there and they know all the words and they're
How are
singing
they
along.
finding it? You think?
Well, we'll get a lot of times. Like, I remember we were at that place in New York, and there was a lady who she came up to us and she said, you guys were my very first concert ever. I was 12 years old. It was at the New York State Fair, and I met you, and you guys were so nice to me. And this is my 12-year-old. She has grown up listening to your music because that's all
They're
I
playing
play.
it for them, yeah.
And now
people my age now we have kids.
exactly. And she's like, and you guys are now her first
yeah.
concert, and you're even nicer now than not that we were not nice then, but so we get a lot of people. I mean, that's how I learned a lot of the music I know is it was shared
Parents,
with me.
yeah.
With my
Right.
parents.
It's so
and-
interesting. Like you guys were coming in today, and my 2.5-year-old, we were listening to your music,
Yeah.
and his favorite song right now is "Love Train."
Oh, wow.
From way back
The
in the day.
OJs?
Yeah.
OJs, Love Train.
Wow.
People all over the world.
He'll walk in the kitchen and go, Love Train. And he can't say Alexa, Rockstar, Love Train. It's great. But I can't let y'all leave without singing a little something. Whatever y'all want, just sing a little something for me.
A little So Much in Love, or
Sure. Make sure you get close to that one. Ooh, whatever it is.
All right. As we stroll along together, holding hands, walking all alone. So in love are we two that we don't know what to do. So in love, in a world of our own. So in love.
Yes. Now, you know what I love is people are finding this music again because you don't need instruments.
Yeah.
Like I think when you said everything comes back, I think it will come. I don't know about the R&B music, but I think the acapella, the way y'all did it.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about the way other people do it, but the way y'all did it, I think that is gonna come back because it's art.
Yeah.
in its truest form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
And
agree,
that's
yeah.
and there's not a lot of people that can do it like y'all can.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Honestly, music is a circle, as Alfred was saying earlier, and I do think if you look now, like if you look at like the Ed Sheerans or the John Legends or the Bruno Mars, like some of those love songs, the kind of songs that we
Yes.
always sang, they're singing those
Yeah.
as well. And then you got groups now like the Pentatonics and some of these other a cappella groups. The one good thing about a cappella is, especially if you're a black kid, the one place you can always sing is the church. And that's where we started, right? But all kids have school choirs and church choirs, and you learn to sing harmonies there. And I think that, I think you will still have some of those. The hardest part is just getting the industry, like the record labels, to sign groups. Because if you look,
I'm
there's not a
about
lot
to
of
say
groups right
that's
now.
what the R&B group needs to make a comeback. It's literally extinct.
But don't you think there's an opening for that right now?
Yes,
because the
absolutely.
people that are our age,
Yes.
they're the ones still buying stuff,
Yes.
and buying stuff. Like I feel there's a big gap.
Absolutely.
That it's not being filled right now.
There's no male or female R&B groups like the Temptations, Boys
Or
to Men,
even
All for
Destiny's
One,
Child.
Destiny's
Yeah.
Child. I'm like, well, they're extinct.
But you know what happens is, like I said, it's a circle, and I remember going from in the '90s, the groups were the king, and then Nirvana comes out, and everybody has to have their version of Nirvana, and then gangster rap gets super hot, and everybody's got to have their gangster rapper, and it's like everything just does this, and then it goes from gangster rap to Britney Spears, and now there's a single white female on every label, and then it goes from that to NSYNC, and and now they're
Backstreet
calling
Boys,
and now they're calling all of us R&B groups boy bands, which we were never called before.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, now because of those boy bands of the early 2000s, if you're 4 guys in a group, you're a boy band.
Yeah.
And but it all kind of makes its way around, and hopefully the one thing that will come back soon are guy and girl groups.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
so
us.
much.
brother.
Always showing me
Appreciate it.
love, man.
Absolutely,
man.
brother.